Good morning. So we play. There are a number of ways to score bridge. On BBO, for reasons I don't quite understand, we play something. The default position is imp pairs. Now we can set this to different things in the tournament, but if you sit down at a table and just open a table and start it, you'll be in imp pairs. Imp pairs is a rather unusual game, and that's because the scoring could not be done by hand. It's a fine game and it's very exciting, but you can't score it by hand. I mean, you can score a match points game by hand where you simply rank the scores. I mean, if you win by 10 points, it's the same thing as winning by 1,100 points. You're just simply ranking the scores. In imps, you have to compare the gap between the 10-point win and the 1,100-point win, right? So it becomes, and then you have to do that to every single other player, and then there's an average taken from that. As a result, it's very complicated, and it emphasizes different things than you would see in match points. To many people, they become most familiar with imps by playing in Swiss team events at tournaments, because you just don't simply see imp pairs at clubs ever. There is one national imp pairs event, the Lebhar pairs, and I think they're playing now a 0 to 5,000 version as well. But the place where you actually see this is on BBO, and it makes for an interesting comparison between and match points. In match points, every single trick matters. If you you make 2+1 in diamonds, you do better than everybody who makes 2 in diamonds. You tend to see the game bids be less important, because if the points don't suggest you're going to be in game, or your distribution doesn't suggest that there's game available, then you really don't want to be there. You don't want to be the only partnership playing game when it goes down, because then you will either get a top or you will get a bottom. If you make it, you get a top. If you don't make it, you get a bottom, right? So you're talking about 100% versus 0%. You don't want to be in that position. You want to be playing with the field. If it seems like it's a contract where everybody's going to be in 2 hearts, so be it. Be in 2 hearts. You don't have to stress out over it. You don't need to increase it. You just need to take more tricks, either defensively or on offense, right? The idea is to take more tricks. As a result, we don't bid the same either. Those of you who were with me in Next Steps looking at 2/1 know that we talked a lot about control bids and different ways of bidding towards slam and investigating slam underneath game. Well, in a match points game, that's not so important and can be damaging. Most people don't bid slams in club games unless there's 33 points, right? So basically, every time you reach a slam on one of those hands that we looked at, where you could make slams on 26 to 28 to 29 points, you are in that field of 1 or 2. And like I've said, in match points, you just don't want to be in that field of 1 or 2. It doesn't pay. You either get a top or you get a bottom. And the problem is that if you go through a scientific auction where you actually discover what your partner has, you reveal controls, you reveal problems in your auction, you reveal to the defense what they should be leading. And anytime you give away a trick, you do worse, right? So if the auction, is very complicated and gets to 4 spades, because we discover we don't have slam because we have 2 losers in diamonds, well, the defenders are paying attention too, and they lead the 2 diamonds, right? If you just go 1 spade, 2 spades, 4 spades, right, without any kind of investigation for slam in match points, they might not get off to that lead, right? And then you're making 4+1, and that 4+1 is a better score than 4, right? And it's significant sometimes. So match points is a different animal. Now, playing imps, the over tricks don't matter. The under tricks don't matter. They are just simply 30 points or 20 points, and are pretty much negligible. What matters the most is that You make your contracts, first of all, go positive whenever you can. And if there is a game available, if there is a chance of game, it is worth the risk. It is worth the risk. So what we have today, because, by the way, because picture yourself vulnerable, making 620, right? And everybody else played it kind of like a match points thing and was very conservative and make 2 plus 4, right? So they're making 170, you're making 620. Now that gap is huge. That gap is huge between the 620 and 170. If you're one of 2 or 3 partnerships that find the game and bid it, you do fantastic. On the other hand, if you go down 1, you don't really get hurt that bad because they're only making they're only making 170, and if you go down, you're down 100. That's a 270 gap, whereas the win was an enormous gap. Right? So you gotta bid games, and you gotta take risks to get game. You can almost say that if you can sniff a game, bid it. I mean, literally. Never going to be foolish, right? Bid the games and then make them. Right? You got to make too. So, but the interesting thing is, if you bid one of these games that was a little bit iffy, you don't have to worry about overture. Just make your contract. You can make safety plays. You know, if you got an 8-card suit, you could duck 1. You don't need to worry about every little finesse and taking every little chance. Count to 10. Count your 10 tricks. Figure out how to get them. Knock it down, and you will do just fine. Okay. So that's a preface to the 3 hands we have today, in which a number of partnerships missed game. Now, one of the things that I worry about is this situation. West has an opening hand, right? They open this every day of the week. When their partner opens, that it creates a sacred duty on West to get to game. This would be true in match points or in imps, but in imps, it will cost you big time. Everybody is going to be getting that bigger contract while you're making a part score. So here we get some interference from South, and South had a weird hand, and we saw a number of different auctions. People who found 3 no trump pretty easily did it simply through because there was no interference that was meaningful, and they were able to get there. But this hand has to get to game. West has no choice; it must get to game. So what do we do? Well, the first thing to think about is whether 2 hearts is a forcing bid or not. Okay, and a lot of people will play that it's not. In fact, the robots played as forcing here, but some people will say that a 2-level bid, overcall, is non-forcing and constructive. So it's important to have that worked out with your partner, because when you know that you have to be in game, as West does, then the dynamic of the auction is they must keep the auction alive. So we bid 2 hearts here, and we get the 2 no trump from East. Now, should West be worried? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The partner is promising club stoppers. We have a fine 6-card heart suit. If we do anything, we have to make a bid that is forcing. If we think, well, maybe we should be playing in hearts, we have to find a bid that's forcing. Well, what's forcing? 3 clubs isn't forcing. 3 diamonds isn't forcing. 3 hearts certainly isn't forcing. About the only bid we have that's forcing is a spade bid, but it's showing a different kind of hand altogether. So we really have no choice. We need to be in game. We can take a flyer at 6 hearts, but if it turns out our partner's void, we'll be sad, or we can just simply trust our partner and raise to game. Now this gets to game fairly easily, makes played well. It will make +2, I think. And the key here is holding West's hand, opening hand versus an opening hand. You can never make a non-forcing bid. You can never give your partner a chance to bow out of the auction. Now, hand 4 was an excellent chance to score some imps if you were sitting north-south. Nobody, take that back, 1 person got to game out of the 9 pairs, and they got to the wrong game. But let's look at what happened. I think why people didn't get there. You're sitting in South's hand and you have 10 points, and it seems a little soft in the red suits. But you do have the ace of clubs on the outside, in an outside suit, and you have a spade suit. Obviously, your response here is one spade. Partner rebids 2 diamonds. Now, it's really important to think about the range of this 2 diamond bid. Because it's a little wider than just a minimum bid. At what point does the 1 diamond bidder jump to 3 diamonds? Well, according to the robot, it's around 16 points, right? At 17 points, right? So it can have up to 16 points. So what you need to ask yourself is, well, what would is game still possible? And of course it is. So you have to make a bid here, and you can almost think of it as a courtesy, like just in case you're at the top of your range, you should know that I have a pretty good hand here for you. So you raise the diamonds, and that should get North to respond 3 hearts, showing a second suit, showing stoppers there. Of course, you have stoppers in clubs and spades. 3 hearts is cooperating, right, which means they're probably at the top end of the range. In fact, the dummy says they have 15 points, and so you go ahead and bid 3 no trump. Let's look at it from the other side and see if the robot works on this as much as I did there. So we have a good hand, right? These are all working honors. We have aces and side suits, 2 side suits, and a doubleton in the 4th suit. And we have ace king 6th in our suit. We open a diamond with our 15 points, which I'm upgrading in my head a little bit. We get a spade bid, and now the question is, can I upgrade this enough to get to a jump to 3 diamonds? And I would, and I don't know that I would do it playing match points, but playing match points, you almost want to have really strong invitations, because let me slow that down a little bit. Playing match points, when you make an invitational bid, it should be a good invitational bid, because you only want your partner going to game if game is solid, right? If this is a game people are going to be in. So you don't make sketchy invitations. So at match points, I don't know that I make an invitation here, right? Because it seems like, because a lot of times making 3 diamonds plus 2 will get you a good score, right? Because all you have to do is score 1 more trick than everybody around the table, and we all think ourselves as the best eclair at the in the room, right? So so at match points, I don't know, right? At imps, I'm tempted to invite here because I want to get to game, right? I want to get to game if it's there, and I'm seeing a good diamond suit, and if I bid 3 diamonds, I think that will give them just enough of a shove. Of course, that would be saying that I have a little bit more than I did, but I've got 15 high card points, just like this description, and I think I have an interesting hand. There's some holes, but they're in the side suits, so part of me wants to bid 3 diamonds. If I do that, I will certainly get to game. Let's go ahead and bid the 2 diamonds that the robot chose. And we get 3 diamonds here. See? Again, the courtesy bid. Right? This is like saying, partner, I know you have a wide range with that 2 diamond bid. It could be as little as 11 and as many as 16. You need to know that I have at least 10 points here. Right? You need to know that I'm close. So what do I bid? I'm worried about the club suit. I'm not so worried about the spade suit, so I show the 3 hearts. Right? Saying I've got this, and yeah, I'm at the top end of my range. 3 no trump. This is a bid that nobody reached. And it needed to be, you need to get there, especially at imps, right? Where we're vulnerable, right? This is 620. This is a 600 game, assuming that it doesn't make more. So in a way, playing imps involves a certain fearlessness. You have to bid those games when you can see them, right? Because that's the way to a big score. When you can swing 6-7 imps your way while everybody else is taking a loss, you can build up a good score, which is interesting because when you look at like the national event, the Lebhar pairs, if you were to just average, say, a quarter of a point, a quarter of an imp aboard, right? You'd be doing fabulous. You'd probably be winning the thing over the course of the event. The fact of the matter is you can get to the second day by just getting 0 in that event. Just scratching will get you 0. It makes for a very exciting tournament. And that's what we play all the time, right? So think about it this way: you're going to play a little fearlessness. You're going to play. You're going to play to make these games, rack up some scores, and then on the part scores, you're just going to try to keep it even, right? Don't take any bad losses. Don't double people into games. Don't gamble, except on the games. And then you want to be aggressive as all get out. So here, right, I know we got to be in game, right? Because I've got this big hand. I got 7, 10, 15, 16 points. 5, 6, 9, 7, 16 points, right? Whatever happens at the end of this hand, we're going to be in game, period. The only way we wouldn't be is if we think we can set the vulnerable north-south big time, right? We have a heart problem, but who doesn't? We bid our spades, right? Forcing bids, right? Again, is a responding hand. I can never let East pass. I can never give him the opportunity to pass. New minor forcing is still on here, right? Where we check on my this, which it's interesting because this does show 5, but as a matter of fact, I can use it still. Just a forcing bid. It'd be nice if he showed 4 hearts there, right? We would be able to bid 3 no trump, but instead he bids the diamonds again, saying no 4-card major. This to us rings bells, right? Because we have 1 heart and East can't even say 4 hearts. So it looks like he has 3. We have 1. My stopper could be there. I mean, South bid him. So I mean, you know, will North leads the heart, and will it come through, or will South plop down the ace of hearts? And if he does, in no trump, we're dead. So I'm kind of in trouble here. What I want to do though is make another bid that's forcing, right? So I can show my club suit. Okay, now I'm showing clubs. Last time I was just asking about the majors. This time I'm showing them. I'm showing I'm showing a game forcing bid, and I bid the clubs. And East confirms the problem in hearts. They don't have a heart stopper either, right? So we go to 5 clubs, right? We got to get to game. Right? Now, we know that a lot of people will chicken out on this. In fact, we did have maybe 3 or 4 pairs that played the no trump game, one of whom got away with it, didn't get the heart lead. I don't know what happened there. But the rest of this is pretty simple, right? We have a king of clubs that we have to deal with. We're going to lose a heart, right? So we can afford to lose the king of clubs if this spade suit sets up. Now, one of the things that we notice that when we're playing match points, right, we always want to play the no trump game instead of the minor game. I mean, pretty much always, we prefer to play a 4-3 split in the majors before we play a minor game, right? At imps, you want the safe game, right? Because the over tricks don't matter, right? The over tricks you would get playing 3 no trump don't matter, right? If they're both taking 11, you know, and then in a minor we get we get 400 points, right? And if it takes 11 tricks in no trump, it's making 490, right? So there's a difference there, 90 points, but it's like nothing compared to not getting to game in the first place. Plus here, where you can see the obvious flaw, right? You can't risk going down in no trump when you can make clubs. So all we have to do is see if this is on. We might even make an over trick, and that loses. Get a diamond back. All right, we'll pick up the clubs. See if we get a nice break. Yeah. All right, and then we can run these spades. 9, 7, missing the 10. There's the 10. We're missing the 8 now. We'll pitch that heart, losing heart. Yeah, all right, I guess the ace of hearts, 8 of hearts, already won. Doesn't matter, right? We have the diamonds. So big win, right? It's only 400 points here, but it's better than scoring these part scores that people had. So anyway, something to think about. The whole lesson today, I guess, was on playing imps, you get to game. This is true whether you're playing Swiss teams, right, where it's imp scoring just against one other pair, or whether it's imp pairs, where you're scoring here against 8 other pairs. We had 9 tables, so right, get to the game. Ultimately, you will do well.